What you are seeing today in front of you is the situation that most communities in Durban have been forced to live under as the municipalities fail to provide people with clean water services. Imagine on a Human Rights Day, you have to chase after the rain, bath in the rain, collect every drop that you can get from the rain because your government that you have voted for has failed you. Reporting to you live from Durban, Zandim Fega, from Meaningful Conversations with Uzandim Fega. Hello, sanibonani dumelang igama uzandi isibongo umfeka umalwandle lo lwandle kalola lwezibhekane zona esihambela lekude phezulu. Do join. Sanibonani dumelang bonjo, welcome yet again to another episode of Meaningful Conversations with Uzani Mfega. You call it the University of Life because this is where you learn something, this is where you get inspired, this is where education takes place in this life thing because we are all in this life thing together, and a day or two, anytime, every day, we learn something in this life thing, right? So this is yet another episode that I thought that let me make it special for you because in South Africa it's National Human Rights Day. On the 21st of March, we celebrate what is called a Human Rights Day. This is the day that recognizes the rights of all living beings that lives in South Africa. You might be legal, you might be illegal, you might be a migrant, you might be a refugee, you might be a prisoner, you might be somebody that is against the law, but still somehow you have got your human rights. That is why when you go to jails these days, prisoners can no longer be harassed. Prisoners have got a right to go to school. Even the babies have got rights, as much as they cannot even speak for themselves, but they do have rights. But so, what does this human rights mean? It means that the constitution that is enshrined, which was endorsed in 1996 after the government of national unity, when the apartheid era was done away with, the government of the time that was going to take over after we had voted for the very first time in 1994. Well, at that time, I was not yet eligible to vote, but now I am at that age where I am eligible to vote. But the people who took to the polls and went to the polling stations and voted for the very first time in this country, those were the people who made a way for us. And they actually said, government, be for us. Do not be for the certain minority. Do not be for the certain race. Do not be for the ones that are favored by you, but be the government of national unity that is actually going to come together and recognize the rights of every single human being that lives, that breathes and walks, and that is living in the same space as everybody else, which is our beautiful country, South Africa. And actually, that is how the Rainbow Nation came about, because it was realized that the Group Areas Act, which was dividing people according to race, Indians had their own places where they were located to live. Some places that were somehow not in town, but somehow closer to towns. White people had got a right to live in towns because those were the recognized races by the government, recognized race by the government, which was supposed to have all types of rights you can think of: a right to vote, a right to have businesses, a right to oppress and be mean to other races because they were the race that was recognized by the government of the time, which was the apartheid government. But now, what does the human rights in 2024 mean to you and I? It means that now we are a rainbow nation. We are one according to the constitution that was endorsed in 1996 and adopted as the constitution of the land. According to the Bill of Rights, we are one. According to all the laws that regulate everything that breathes and lives in South Africa, we all have rights somehow. to a certain extent. As long as you are not doing anything that is illegal, you have a right. But let us just reserve this conversation for another day, because you are going to ask me, how come then prisoners who have committed crimes of different sorts, who have committed crimes that violated other people's rights, go to prison but still have rights? That is another conversation for another day. If you want us to have this conversation, with all due respect, we will have it one day. You know why? Because not me just being a podcaster and a YouTuber only, but I also happen to be somebody who is an academic within the space of public administration and government. So I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm an expert when it comes to such things and policy making and understanding all the basic things that surrounds the government and the function and everything that comes with it. But today, why am I doing this episode randomly on a Human Rights Day? I am doing this episode because allow me to be somebody that is going to come and be an advocate to those who cannot speak for themselves. Allow me to come and vent on behalf of those with lesser powers to vent. In South Africa, there is a culture that is commonly known as toy toy. We call it toy toy in the local language, but in an actual sense, it simply means that when somebody goes to the street and toy toy, it means that that person is heartful. That person wants to be heard. That person is demanding government attention one way or the other. Why? Because this is it has become some sort of our culture, because in South Africa, there are a lot of issues that happens and the government is not even paying attention to, and it happens and it's tomorrow it's life as usual and life goes on as normal, but it's affecting the human that are living in the country that are supposed to have rights, and it's not nice. So today, this this episode is actually to vent. I want to know from our government on a Human Rights Day. Some of you might have seen the shot that I took this morning. Last night it rained after a while. And when it rains, it is an excitement to most people who live in Durban. And this problem is spreading across to other areas around Durban and outside of Durban as well. Residents in this place haven't had water for the past, I don't know how many months. People have taken to the street and boycotted and striked and screamed and made noise almost every week now. In the north of Durban, more especially, people are on strike. Not that they like to strike, not that it's nice to strike. Strike disrupts our lives. We can't go to work. We cannot go to, children cannot go to school. We cannot go and buy food and necessities in the shop. But people have learned in South Africa that because it has become more like something that is like insila ngesizulu, has become like insila yethu ukuteleka, because that is how our government has learned to listen to the people of the country. When they strike, the government responds better, listens better, and things happen. In 2024, on a Human Rights Day, do you want to tell me that we still have to go and take it off to the street and vote and doi so that the government can hear what the people are saying? Do you think it's fair? It's a Human Rights Day after all. Let's talk about it. Let us have this conversation, because this is a conversation that I want you to do join on it, because it touches you and I. On a Human Rights Day, I live in an area in the north of Durban. Those of you who fly a lot, they know the Ushaga Airport, the King Ushaga International Airport, that is nestled in the north of Durban. And I am coming from an area that is literally less than 6 kilometers from there. Why am I mentioning this? I am mentioning this because not a single day have I ever heard that King Ushaga International Airport has run out of water. Now, measure the distance. I have told you that I come from an area, I live in an area that is literally 6 kilometers away from the airport. But the community in this area where I live, I moved here because I bought land. I moved here 3 years ago. I bought site and I started building. When I started building, people have had already had this issue of complaining a lot about water. At times, water will come out. At times, water won't be there. I don't know why and why this is happening. And when I'm following on the history, gathering information from the people who have been here before, they are mentioning that people have had water before when everybody was when the municipality installed taps for everyone, and it was still run by Umgeni Water. But when things happen and people, things, when we're thinking that the government is actually changing things, is transforming people's lives, they came and said that now the water is going to actually be under the municipality, and people account of water will have to be under the municipality. When it was run by Umgeni Water, people were paying for the water and there was enough supply source of water. Now it's run by the municipality, and people, that we vote for them, they give us things, and some of those things are free. Somehow, it looks like, I stand to be corrected on this one, allegedly the municipality promised people that they will install water taps in their homes, and they won't have to pay for it because it is a human right to have basics running water. So you all know that even though you stay in the township, wherever you stay, you are still entitled to your first 20 liters of free water. So I suppose that was the plan, but it's the plan that never took off. It's the plan that never, I don't know. On a Human Rights Day, we are living in a country where there is load shedding. Unemployment rates, the last time I checked, I don't know today, on the 21st of 2024, 21st of March 2024, I don't know today, but I know that the last time I checked, unemployment rates in this country was sitting at 37.9. What does it say about our government? There is load shedding that happens. You don't know whether it's coming or going. Stage 6, stage 5, stage 34. I don't know. But there is load shedding that is bringing the economy to its knees. A person that is running a small business is struggling to keep the lights on because how much do you have to sustain your business if every day you will have to pay for the electricity bill, and at the same time you're also paying for the fuel, or rather the diesel, that you have to put into the generator in order for your business to run. Hence, the businesses that started before load shedding, 90% of those businesses in this country are no longer existing. You walk around in our malls, there is to let everywhere because economy is not doing good. Government is failing the people. I am talking to you right now. Last night it rained after a while. I did not sleep last night because I was running around with every little container that I have, whatever that I could use to put where there is water dropping down, so that I can collect enough water for cleaning, for flushing the toilet, and even we buy water for drinking. I have been buying water for drinking for the past 2 years. Since COVID, I have been buying water for drinking because we haven't had supply of water. Imagine now, COVID was when? 2019, 2020. I have been buying water, drinking water since then. The government has failed to supply clean water for us. They do send the water trucks from time to time. On a day like this, on a Human Rights Day, on a holiday, we should be seeing trucks all over because most of the people are not working. Hence, they have time to go and collect water from the water tanks. But water tanks are nowhere to be found. And guess what? Another thing about these water trucks, they come and they charge the communities depending. They look at your face. And also depending how you smile. If they love your smile, you might pay 150 to get your Jojo tank to be filled up by a water truck. A water truck that is supposed to supply water to the community for free. Remember, it's Human Rights Day. It is my legal human right to have a good, clean supply of water that the government promised me. When the government of national unity took over in 1994, they came and promised people better lives, better jobs, improved lives, civilization, this, that. It was a lot. Free education. How can I forget that I'm an academic, for heaven's sake? Free education. Do we see free education anywhere? Do we see improved lives anyway? Do we see job opportunities, and do we see small businesses being striving and doing better in this country? Now, my question from me to you is Human Rights Day. It's 2024, 30 years after democracy. What is human about Human Rights Day? When in the evening I see rain, I get excited because I am literally running around with the containers trying to collect each and every drop that I can get because the municipality is failing to provide water for me. I have not refused to pay for the water, but how do you even pay for something that is not even there? How is it a human right for me if a person who is sitting in jail has conducted illegal? I'm talking to you right now, Nandi Pama Kutumana, as we all know, as we all know her as the top criminal that assisted another toppest criminal who was a Facebook apist and killing Tabo Pesta. You know the story. Those people, when they wake up in the morning, they have got breakfast, they've got lunch, they've got supper, and they have fresh running hot water to bath. I am sitting in my house. I am willing to pay for all those things, but I don't have access to them. When it rains outside, I get excited because I literally have to run around putting buckets, bowls, anything you think of, everywhere, all around, so that I can, at least for the next couple of days, I have water to clean my house. At least I have water to wash my clothes. Because trust me, it's very expensive to take clothes to the dry clean. I've been doing that with my bedding, and it's getting exhausting. It's Human Rights Day, and the government is failing me as a citizen of this country. On a Human Rights Day in 2024, on May 20, in May this year, 29, we are taking to the poll stations to vote. Who are we going to vote for? Who are we going to vote for? No clean basic water services, which is something that is even mentioned on the SDGs. Those of you who don't know what SDGs is Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 in total. SDGs are emphasizing that all the countries, developing countries, which South Africa, these were developed by UN, and which South Africa is part of, all the countries, they must make sure that they alleviate poverty by 2030. They must make sure that the communities have got clean services, water services. They must make sure that the health services are accessible and available to people. But if you go into hospitals of this country, what do you see? What do you see? It's raining, it's Human Rights Day. Instead of me sitting in my house, relaxing, enjoying the day however I want, with whomever I want, but instead I am running around, targeting with my buckets and my bowls and my pots and whatever that I can use. I am targeting the drops of rain so that I can collect enough for me to be able to survive. Is this fair? Is this in 2024 what the Human Rights Day should be like? What is happening in our beautiful country? Is this what all the heroes of apartheid who fought for the apartheid system to go away, is this what they fought for? I grew up in a rural area. There were rivers which were supplying us with fresh clean water. These rivers were never running dry. I remember as a young kid, I would go into the river on every weekend, wash my blankets, wash my clothes, and I come back, my clothes are clean with no struggles. I will even bath there. And there were some other areas where there were water wells where we'll get fresh, clean water. I grew up, I saw the rivers running with water. Now my children don't know the rivers anymore because the government came in and directed all the rivers into their dams so that they can supply the communities with water that is clean because according to them, those water that were coming from the rivers were not clean. And they redirected those waters into their dams, which are supposedly to be purified so that they can be supplied to the communities, repurified, recycled, so that the supply of water is not enough. So the rain has been coming. It's not the first time it rained. It has been raining throughout December. We've seen scary rains. The dams are full, but there's no water. Another example, the area where I literally live like 6 kilometers away from the area that is called Umdlut, a beautiful place that is along the sea, that where the Lanis are living. I've never heard people who live in that area complaining that they don't have water. But guess what? The dam that supply the whole of Durban is literally 5 kilometers away from where I stay. So basically, the people who are meant to suffer, it's the people who are in the low-income areas, who are living in the rural in areas. Those are the people that the government really do not care about. Last week, on the 15th of March, I went to Joburg. I was staying in Centurion from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday until I left. I went there for a graduation, for a YouTube graduation. Guess what? Not a single day when I was there was load shedding. Not a single day when I was there was water shedding, because these days they are giving it a fancy name, water shedding. Because in Durban, the infrastructure was damaged by the rains. You are telling me about the rains that damaged the infrastructure. Those rains happened 3 years ago. Those floods happened 3 years ago. So throughout all these years, what are the people in position doing? What are the administrators doing? What are the municipality managers doing to solve the problem? Tenders are being issued every day. When you get the Etegone municipality bulletin, you see tenders every day are going out to build this, to do that, to do that. The minister came in January when people were on strike. The minister came and said, definitely on the 15th of February, everybody will have a clean supply of water. It will come out from the taps. Come 15th of February. Did we see water? Last year, when people were up in arms, were angry about this water situation, the mayor himself came and had a meeting with the community. He said by the October 2023 we'll have fresh running water, because the infrastructure was damaged by the floods that took place back in 2020, and infrastructure was badly damaged such that they need to order a pipe that is coming from overseas. That pipe, it takes how many years for it to get to South Africa, Durban to be precise? How many years does it take? Because the mayor at the time, last year, people were up in arms, were striking. He was giving the same excuse. And the minister as well came this year and gave the same excuse. Oh no, the pipe is on the way. And the pipe is coming on the 15th of February. Why do you let your people suffer so much? Do you find joy in seeing your people suffering? These very same people that you want for the votes when the election takes place. What report do you give to the UN when they want to know how far or how are you implementing your SDGs in your countries? What do we teach the students that are in our universities? Because we have got a mandate to teach the students to become responsible public servants. But unfortunately, when they get to the workplace, it's an opposite of what we have taught them. It's an opposite of what they see when we take them for in-service trainings and things like that, for all these things, that the experiential training, for all there are other universities that provide experiential training, and whenever you didn't do your 6 months will or whatsoever, you don't get your degree or you don't get your qualification. It's an opposite when they get there, when they actually see how the officials within the government space actually work. I don't know. This was me venting. This is the Meaningful Conversations with Uza and Mfega. I want to know from you. Drop down a comment below. What is it that we can do? Because it's clear that we are on our own. Government has clearly shown that they don't care about us. What is it now as communities that we need to do to supply ourselves with whatever that we need to supply ourselves with in order to survive? Because by the way I see things, we will die of health related issues because we don't have clean water. COVID was here less than 2 years ago. We're being told water, 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 but the same water we don't have. Let us have this conversation. Maybe you've got a solution. I don't. And this was me here on a Human Rights Day to vent. I love you all. Bye.